2024. This is the business meeting with the Board of County Commissioners. The time is 2 p.m. In attendance is Commissioner Duncan on the telephone and myself, Commissioner Matari. I want to call this meeting to order. First, I want to begin with a moment of silence. Okay. Next is the Pledge of Allegiance. Gaston, could I get you to lead that off for us, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Are there any changes to today's agenda? Hearing none, we'll go into public comment. Does anyone have anything they'd like to say? Jonathan? Nope. Okay. I will take a motion on the meeting minutes.
I move we approve items 1 and 2 for meeting minutes.
I second the motion.
Chair Pro Tem Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan,
Aye.
Okay. Motion for the consent calendar.
I move we approve items 3 through 5.
I second the motion.
Chair Pro Tem Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan,
And payables
Aye.
list. Oh, I'm sorry.
I move that we approve the payables for the week of May 20th through 2024 in the amount of $3,227,918.08, along with jury panel payments in the amount of $6,551.32.
I second the motion.
Chair Pro Tem Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan,
Aye.
Okay, first item up is number 7, board approval request, award badge and duty weapon and ID card for the retirement of Lieutenant Ryan Higgins and Under Sheriff Brett Nelson.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Under Sheriff Brett Nelson for the record. I come before you per Idaho statute seeking the badge, duty weapon, and ID card in honor of Lieutenant Higgins' over 27 years of service to the Sheriff's Office, which is concluding on June 27th.
Any questions? I just have one.
No,
If we don't approve this motion, does this mean that Lieutenant Higgins will stick around a little longer?
Yes, that is correct. If you'd like to go that route, Commissioner, I'll gladly accept that too.
Okay. All right. Commissioner Duncan, motion.
I move that we make Lieutenant Ryan Higgins stay, but that's all right. I move that we approve the request of the awarded badge and duty weapon and ID card for Lieutenant Ryan Higgins, and thank you for your service.
I second the motion and thank you for your service.
Chair Pro Tem Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan,
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Next up, number 8, public hearing notice, airport fees, public hearing with the airport. I have Kim Stevenson and Gaston Patterson.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Gaston Patterson with the airport for the record. We have a public hearing regarding airport fee change of greater than 5% on our fuel flowage fees. Our 100 low lead is going from 7 cents to 9 cents per gallon, 2-cent increase, and our jet fuel is going from the 9-cent mark up to a recommended 12-cent per gallon. And then we also have one new fee that is a tower support fee from the 8,000 pound to 10,000 pound tower support fee only of $10 per landing. And then every increment above that also has that $10 per landing fee added to it as well.
Questions, Commissioner Duncan? Motion?
Actually, we'll just call if anybody in the audience or on the phone has public comment in favor or against this fee change.
Jonathan, anybody? No, we have no one.
And then I move that we end public testimony and enter into deliberations.
I second the motion.
Chair Pro Tem Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. I am comfortable with these changes, and of course, they've been published and noticed to the community and even through our advisory board.
I feel the same. I've spoken with the folks at the airport about that as well.
Then I would move that we approve the increase in fees at the airport.
I second the motion.
Chair Pro Tem Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next up, number 9, Resolution 2024-49. Resolution for 2024 airport fees with the airport.
Absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner. The first item is the normal CPI adjustment for our private aeronautical, commercial aeronautical, and non-aeronautical lease rates at the airport. Our private aeronautical will go to 0.251 cents per square foot annually. Our commercial aeronautical will be 0.314, and non-aeronautical will be 0.627. So that's a CPI adjustment of 4.32% increase for this year. This was presented to the Airport Advisory Board as well, and they agreed with the increase on that particular item. Then we have the fuel flowage increase of 100 low lead going to 9 cents per gallon, and jet fuel going to the 12 cents per gallon flowed. And the new tower support fee starting at 8,000 pounds and up from there, $10 per landing. So those are the changes for the fee schedule of this year reflected in the resolution.
All right, thank you. Questions? Motion?
I move that we approve Resolution 2024-49, and that is for the airport fees.
I second the motion.
Chair Pro Tem Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye.
And the motion passes. Next up is item 10, Resolution 2024-50, Airport Surplus and Auction of Vehicles and Equipment.
Absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner. Gaston Patterson with the airport. We have a rather lengthy list of equipment at the airport that we seek to add to surplus. So we can, everything here basically is well beyond its service life, has been completely depreciated. A lot of these items are old military surplus pieces of equipment. A lot of this doesn't actually operate. It's beyond its useful life. So essentially, in an effort to streamline and make our operation more efficient, we're going to take all this equipment that the airport doesn't use, be able to auction it off, and then get the few pieces of equipment that the airport does need to function more efficiently and move forward. So with that, we have the list presented, and we would move forward with auction once approved.
Questions? Motion?
Just one question. Gaston, will this list be offered to any other departments in the county? I understand for the airport that it's unusable, but maybe a different county department?
Unfortunately, Commissioner, the equipment that's an airport asset has to be, when it's disposed of, that has to be essentially, the airport has to recapture that value. So any value to be gained from there through the auction process has to come back into the airport in the form of operations and maintenance or purchasing equipment for the airport. So we can't move an asset from the airport to a different department.
Even if they paid market value for it?
I would have to look at that process. Typically, it has to go on basically the fair market, which the auction allows. I would have to see if there's a way that another department could pay a fair market for that, as long as that came back to the airport. I can definitely check on that.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure, with your list that if there is going to be anything, but we like to usually try to do that. So I'm in favor of approving Resolution 2024-50, which is the airport surplus and auction of vehicles.
I second the motion.
Chair Pro Tem Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Next up is item 11, board approval request, a corrected order, request for tax exempt status, AIN 210670, Kootenai Health Foundation, Inc. And this is basically an item that the board has already approved, but they had the wrong name of the entity on there, and so that was corrected. And so, Commissioner Duncan, did you have any questions or anything you wanted to discuss about that?
Nope, that's exactly the situation. So I move that we approve the corrected order, which is the request for tax exempt status for AIN 210670, and that's Kootenai Health Foundation.
I second the motion.
Chair Pro Tem Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye.
And next up is item 12. This is the same issue, different AIN number. It's a board approval request, corrected order request for tax exempt status for AIN 210671, again, Kootenai Health Foundation, Inc.
I move that we approve the corrected order, the request for tax exempt status for AIN 210671, Kootenai Health Foundation.
I second the motion.
Chair Pro Tem Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye.
Okay, motion's approved. Next up is item 13, and this is the Q2 quarterly financial presentation. It's a discussion item, and Brandy Falcon.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Brandy Falcon for the record. I'm just going to briefly cover some of the high points in our Q2 financials. It took a while to get in front of you just with the election and some other stuff we had going on over the last 2 months. Our quarterly is posted on our website every quarter for the public and other elected officials to download and view. So on page 19, this is the countywide property tax collections by fund. I just wanted to point out that we've collected 62% of our budgeted property tax. The next chunk of tax is due in June, so July is when we'll see the next dump of cash into our property tax accounts. On page 22 is collections of non-tax revenues by fund. This would be fees, fines, interest, and state revenues. We've collected 63% of those revenues. On page 26, these are some of our larger categories of revenue this is new that we put in here this year for the board to track. So state revenue sharing, we've collected as of Q2, we had collected 2.1 million. We had budgeted 8.7 million, so due to a timing issue with payments from the state, for Q2, we are showing behind, but we did get another payment in April. So you'll see that on our next quarterly report. State sales tax, we had collected 4.3 million out of budgeted 8.9 million. State liquor, we had collected 1.7 million out of budgeted 4.2. Interest, we book that monthly. Through March, we had collected $4,034,000 out of $4 million budgeted. The treasurer had already covered that in his budget presentation with you last week, I believe. So we're doing well in terms of our interest collections. And then our unrealized market gain loss, we book that quarterly. Through Q2, we had booked a $1.1 million gain. On page 27 and 28 are the over budget warnings for the departments. This is comparing the percentage spent in a budget compared to the percentage the way through we are through the fiscal year. So all of these I've reviewed, none of them are concerning. They're mostly pre-grant expenses, or a department has spent an entire budgeted amount at once for an annual payment or a capital purchase. The only one that's showing over budget would be SWAP, but that's just in a line item. Their total B budget, they are still within budget, which is according to policy 930. So those are just the high points for Q2 financials. Any questions?
Commissioner Duncan?
Nope, all's well.
Yes, thank you. It sounds like we had some good news, at least a little bit, better news than just good on some of the revenue issues, but on other revenue components, it looks like we're kind of flat and maybe even just, right.
Our state revenues are flattening quite a bit, so
Yeah.
we'll discuss that more in our budget meetings
Yes.
over the next month. So.
Very good. Well, thank you so much. Next up is public comment. Does anyone have anything they'd like to say? Jonathan? No? Commissioner Duncan, I would just like to say thank you. I know that you're out of town, or at least taking some time off, and you have to kind of juggle everything throughout the day just to make sure that you're here for these meetings. So thank you, since Bill Brooks is excused right now and dealing with his health stuff.
Yep, no problem. This is my third meeting of the day, so I'll hit the pool now.
Well, hopefully you can hit the pool the rest of the week and enjoy yourself. So thank you. With
No problem.
no other public comment, I will adjourn the meeting. It's 2:15. Thank you.